You are listening to the Marketing 32 Show with your host, Brett Allen.
Hi, Brett Allen here, host of the Marketing 32 Show, where I connect with leading dentists, dental influencers, and industry experts. As you know, we uncover the latest and greatest in strategies and insights and innovations to help your practice grow and thrive. This episode, as always, is brought to you by our team here at Marketing 32. We're the only dental marketing team that I know of with a performance guarantee that if you're not growing, you don't pay. It's really that simple. So if you want to learn more about how you can work with us, if we'll be a great fit, head over to marketing32.com, schedule a quick call. We'll talk and set you straight. Quick shout out to the amazing women of Collaboricon event coming up. Tia Hunter, Emmy Sanders, Dana Watson, and Lois Banta. Recently had them on the show. We talked all about how that event is so different and unique from any other dental event in the industry. You should check it out. And today I'm super excited to have a new friend. Gary Takacs is here. Gary, as you guys know, his reputation precedes him. He's passionate about helping dentists and team members develop their practice to full potential. He's spoken at nearly every dental conference in North America and is often referred to as the Podfather. Podfather, I did that wrong. The Podfather, since he started the very first dental podcast in 2011 and now has listeners in over 188 countries, you guys. If you don't know that podcast, you got to check it out. So excited to have you on the show today, Gary. Thanks for coming on.
Well, Brett, it's mutual. I'm really excited to be on your podcast, talking about things I'm passionate about. So thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, as always, let's dive into, you've got a huge experience that we could go into with dentistry. Tell us about how you got started and then ultimately transitioned into being a consultant now that you've helped so many.
Well, pardon my enthusiasm on our regarding our amazing profession, but I truly believe that dentistry rocks. And Brett, I know you share that sentiment as well. And the reason I believe dentistry rocks is we have the ability to change people's lives every day. It could be something we do clinically. You take a patient that has some really compromised dentition and you provide them the smile of their dreams. Or it could be something much more subtle, behavioral. It could be a patient just needs someone to listen to them. And maybe you were that compassionate set of ears that they needed that day. So I truly believe our profession rocks. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. But if I can share a little bit of background, I spent all of the 1980s working for two large dental consulting firms, essentially learning my craft as a coach and consultant. By 1989, I had worked with over 500 practices in all 50 states. I still had a lot to learn, but I thought maybe I know enough to get started. My wife was a kindergarten teacher. We had 2 kids, later to become 4. And I cut the safety of the corporate job, and we launched my consulting firm. Figured out how to live on a kindergarten teacher's income. My wife says I have selective amnesia, and she's right.
She's right.
Not sure how we did that, but she gets all the credit. Yeah, she gets all the credit. And we made it. And for the last, since 89, I've had my own consulting firm, myself and my team. We work with practices all over the country to help them develop their ideal practice. Along the way,
how many practices have you helped now?
Well, we stopped counting.
I bet.
Just shy of 1,800 practices.
Wow.
So it's
impressive. Something
north of that number. It's like I said, it's just a passion of mine. I truly love working with doctors and teams to develop their ideal practice. And to really, have it be a practice that represents their values, their wishes, and it's truly a labor of love. I'm not a dentist. I should mention that. I'm not a dentist.
I didn't know that. When I first met you, I've seen you all over. I'm like, oh, here's an awesome dentist.
I get accused of being one, but I'm not a dentist. I've never been a dentist. My background is the business and the behavioral side of dentistry. So the business side and the people's side, the behavioral side of dentistry. Years ago, I had a wonderful mentor that some of your more senior listeners will remember, Dr. Omer Reed. Some will remember him. Dr. Reed taught me that dentistry is a people game. And you know what, Brett? He's right. Dentistry is a clinical game for sure, but it's also very much a people game. If you can master the behavioral side, you'll get a lot more acceptance of your treatment recommendations because they know how much you care about them. So it really has been a passion. I have been a practice owner. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. In Arizona, you don't have to be a dentist to own a practice.
Right.
And from 2007 to 2022, I was a partner in a dental practice. Initially partnered with a dentist. We owned it 50-50 and continued to develop it. We brought a second doctor on board in 2013, diluted our shares from 50-50 to a third, continued to develop the practice. We had a goal of growing by at least 10% every year. And even years where we weren't adding providers, weren't adding more hygiene, or weren't adding another doctor, we still wanted to grow by at least 10% every year.
Wow.
I was a partner in that practice until 2022. We always had a buy-sell agreement between my partners and myself, and it was geared towards me. Frankly, Brett, I'm old enough to be their dad.
Oh, wow.
Actually,
yeah,
very much so. And it was directed towards me. And in 2022, I went to my partners and said, "Hey guys, I don't need to sell my third, but if it works for you, this is good timing for me. So I'd like to spend the next season of my career really on my coaching and helping as many practices as I could develop an ideal." It turned out it was good timing for them. So while I'm no longer an equity partner, they're a client. My daughter's their office manager and they're my dentist. So I still have
great.
A deep connection for sure.
Well, we have a lot of dentists we work with in the greater Phoenix area. I think we're up to 13, 15 practices or something like that. Love the Phoenix market. It is great. And there's a lot you can do there with other alternative treatments, right? Like other implants, you name it.
Yeah.
Huge market.
It's a Sunbelt area, so it's growing. We have a nice age distribution. There's seniors, of course, but then on the other end of the spectrum, there's lots of young families. It's really a wonderful place to live and practice. It's competitive, but it's competitive anywhere people want to live is going to be competitive.
Sure.
But get a good marketing partner on your side.
You can blow it up.
Yeah,
let's go. Let's blow it up.
Yeah.
Part of that. And this is something you advocate for and really help practices with is transitioning from PPO to fee for service, right? Let's talk about that.
I call it reducing insurance dependence, and I've chosen those words specifically because you don't have to go all the way to fee for service to improve your practice. Every time you successfully resign from a PPO plan, you're strengthening your practice. But I always tell my clients, if your goal is to go all the way to fee for service, then I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader because that's the way to get the most out of it. But I'll get on my soapbox, and I suspect I'm going to have attentive ears in your podcast listeners. Don't get me started about PPO plans
there's some funny jokes. I just saw this the other day on Dental Nachos. There was a post about, this is the greatest way that this is an example of how you can help people understand how the insurance industry has really just put a damper on this is somebody here talking about it. The favorite explanations. It says, the other day, an attorney patient asked me why I wasn't in network with his dental insurance. I asked why he wasn't in network with my lawyer insurance. He asked, what's that? I responded, that is insurance that makes you reduce your $350 an hour fee to $150 an hour if you were in network. Want to sign up?
Yeah, how about no?
How about you, right? It's really pretty remarkable. Yeah.
Right. I like to teach our clients to think of the PPO adjustments, the difference between your usual fee and your contracted fee. I like my clients to think of that as a marketing expense. Now, it doesn't show up on your profit and loss statement because, you're not actually writing a check to Delta. Can I name them? Can I name the 5,000?
Everybody knows who you're talking about. Yeah. Everybody knows.
You're not writing a check to Delta. It's even worse. Delta takes the money out before you ever get it.
Right.
But I want you to think of that as a marketing expense because you are paying Delta to provide you patients, and you're paying them in the form of a 45 to 50% haircut.
It's
over
pretty
your
high.
Usual fee. It's the average adjustment in 2025 at the time we're recording this is 45 to 50%.
Yeah. In fact, that's an outlandish marketing fee. Yeah. If you look at the industry standard, it's anywhere, depending on what kind of growth phase you're in, you're like anywhere from 5 to 10% total production goes to marketing. And so if you're paying 45%, that's crazy. Yeah. That's great.
And sadly, a lot of dentists don't know what they're writing off. And there's a way that I can explain that really simply. In your practice management software, and again, it doesn't matter whether it's Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, or whatever flavor of PMS you have, there's two ways to enter your fees. One way is you can enter your usual and customary reasonable fees, enter your usual fees. And then if you're participating with PPO plans, when you get the EOB, that gets loaded into your software and it does the adjustment to figure out what you're able to collect out of that. But only 10% of dentists in the country enter their UCR fees. The other 90% of dentists in the country enter their contracted fees. In other words, what the contracted fee is for the crown. And all the major practice management systems encourage you to do that because it makes it easier to track collections. But the part that's bad about it is that you never know what you're writing off. So, for example, I equate it to you're driving an exotic sports car blindfolded, and the exotic sports car is your practice, and you're driving that blindfolded. Let me give you an example, and this is my favorite example to use. I won't use the doctor's name out of confidentiality, but this is a case study from my client base. And this is a very, very strong solo dentist practice. And I have 2 years side by side to compare. And it makes the comparison really valid because you're looking at 2 situations side by side.
Yeah.
In 2023, this very strong solo dentist, so he was a 4-day-a-week solo dentist, 2 full-time hygienists, each also working 4 days a week. Nice mix of services. 2023, he was contracted with 8 PPO plans, so not as bad as it could be. Sometimes we see 20, 30 PPO plans. He was contracted with 8. Delta was one of those. And in 2023, he was in network the entire year. And his office in 2023 produced 1.9 in real fees, $1.9 million. Brett, I think you'd agree that's a strong solo dentist practice.
Not bad. Not bad.
But collected 1.4. Now, the difference, the $500,000 difference, was not a collections problem.
That's what I was immediately thinking. Yeah.
It was an adjustment problem. In other words, that was the part that was adjusted off by the PPO fee plans. Produced 1.9, collected 1.4. Now let's fast forward to 2024, the next year. We timed it so he was out of network by January 1st.
So you had a full calendar year.
So now we had a full calendar year.
Yeah.
So remember the numbers. Previous year, produced 1.8, collected, produced 1.9, collected 1.4. The next year, his production went down a little bit to 1.8. Okay, we don't usually like to see production.
Some attrition. But
not the end of the story because he collected 1.7.
Wow.
Same team, same hours, same everything. So again, I'll put the 2 years side by side.
Yeah.
2023.
Well, he's probably doing and $100,000 less in productivity.
$100,000 less, so his overhead went down because his overhead now is based on generating 1.8 in dentistry. But he collected an extra $300,000. Doctor, if you're listening to this, which would you prefer? Produce 1.9, collect 1.4. Produce 1.8, collect 1.7.
Yeah, I think it's pretty well known, the benefits to making the switch. It's the how, right? It's the how do I do this? There's a lot of fear, understandably so. There's a lot of advice that's shared on how to do it. Some of it's good, some of it's not. Yeah. How do you walk through a practice? What's your typical process if you're going to?
Well, we've got this down to a science. We literally have a 6-step plan that is your blueprint to follow to successfully resign from PPO plans. And I can confidently say that because we've done it in over 400 offices. Every state, every locational environment, so urban, suburban, large town, medium-sized town, small town, company town. Let me give you 2 examples of company towns: Seattle, Washington.
Okay. Yeah.
And Houston, Texas.
A good percentage of people are in a similar
look at
industry.
Seattle. There's 4 large employers in and around Seattle. There's Microsoft,
Amazon, Microsoft,
Boeing Aircraft, Amazon, and Starbucks. And all 4 of those have PPO plans. Houston's a little bit different. It's large corporate employers, large oil and gas. But we've done it there. Done it in rural areas. So it's a proven blueprint. Let me walk through the 6 steps. It's a 6-step plan. Number 1 is know your data. Know your data. We have to know at a deep level how many patients are in each plan, what the resignation notice is, what the discount is, whether they'd be willing to negotiate or not, and what that might look like. So we have to know our data. And it's not a casual scrub. It's really know it inside and out. Step 2, you'll like this. Develop a comprehensive marketing plan.
Yep.
Find a partner like Marketing 32 to help you market, because we're going to replace getting your patients from Delta, Blue Cross, Aetna, Travelers, whatever, with your own marketing. And by the way, you'll spend a fraction of the same amount, a fraction compared to what you're writing off.
Right. Yeah,
and you'll get much better results. Because the truth is, Brett, if I try to step back and be objective about it, you can get a good patient from Delta. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But a lot of them arrive with baggage.
Right.
And
they have expectations. They've got,
The baggage is, I'm only interested in having that done if it's covered by insurance.
Right. Right.
That's the dreaded phrase that so many dentists dread.
Is it covered?
Is this covered by my insurance? So step 2 is develop a comprehensive marketing plan to replace any patients you're going to lose when you go out of network, but also replace the historic flow of patients that have come from participating. So for example, if you get historically 10 new patients a month from Delta, the day you resign from Delta, that dries up to 0. And if we annualize that, 10 times 12, well, we need 120 new patients coming from somewhere else. So that's where marketing comes in. That's step 2. Right. Step 3 is a membership plan. Develop an in-office membership plan. By the way,
those are so great.
In that example that I used, where the second year in 2024 produced 1.8 and collected 1.7, the $100,000 difference there was all due to a membership plan.
Oh, wow.
And I love the membership plan because the membership plan allows you to attract people that don't have insurance. So, yes, there's going to be a discount involved with your membership plan, but it's a way lesser amount than if we're dealing with the PPO plans.
Right. And there's that predictive revenue that comes.
It's recurring revenue. So step 3 is develop and market. That goes back to you. Market your membership plan to individuals and to small employers that are outside of the typical employers that provide dental insurance benefits. So market your membership plan.
Yeah, let me talk on that just a minute. There's so much you can do with text marketing to your patient list for this very reason. A lot of practices just turn on in the PMS, give me the automated text reminders for the appointment, and that's the minimum they do. Or they might do one step further, which is the annual appointment reminder. Hey, it's time for your checkup. If you're not leveraging that patient list for quarterly marketing and promotional offers to the list to get them back into the practice, you're missing out on a huge amount of production and selling the membership. Membership works great with that.
How cool is it to have, direct communication into their purse or wallet, right to their pocket. It goes right to them.
Yeah.
So step 3 is not only create a membership plan, but truly work with your marketing partner to market it to full potential. Right. Step 4 is to fully train your team at a deep level. Train your team on how to talk to patients about this, how to answer FAQs, frequently asked questions, how to overcome objections, how to explain, if a patient says, I don't understand, why are you doing this? How do we answer that? And train it very, very deep. Part of the training that we do is we do a heads up conversation to let our patients know that nothing's happening today, but we tell them what's coming. And so that way we can get them kind of conditioned to what's happening. They're informed. They know why we're doing it. And
you're talking about dropping insurance and say, hey, we're moving this way. Yeah, definitely heads up. I've heard stories where that's not done very well. And there's
the worst thing that if I could help your listeners avoid a misstep, the worst thing in the world you could do is just send all your patients a letter.
Yeah.
Worst in the world.
He's like, goodbye. They'll just never come to you again.
It's not a two-way street. First of all, many people will never read it, no matter what format you send it in, whether it's email, snail mail, whatever. They won't understand it. It doesn't allow them to ask any questions. They don't get the humanistic side behind it. They don't understand why we're doing this.
And you miss that opportunity to sell them into your membership.
Yeah. The membership plan becomes a wonderful alternative and segue so they can stay with you in a better format for them.
Right.
So step 4 is train your team at a very, very deep level. And we do that.
Right.
Step number 5 is elevate the relationship-driven aspect of your practice. Now, the more relationship-driven you are, Brett, my definition of relationship-driven is we know our patients' names, we know their spouse's name, we know their kid's name, we know the dog's name, we know their hobbies, we know their interests, we know where they went to college. If they went to UCLA, we don't bring up
They're
USC.
your friends. They're your friends.
They're your friends.
Got to track all that in the chart so that they know.
We don't have to know that at all times about everybody, but we need to know the ones we're seeing today.
Right.
So we
right.
develop a system so that we truly are connected with our patients.
Yeah.
And then
they feel that.
Yeah.
I've seen practices that do that well. And those are the 7-figure practices. No
Yeah.
problem.
So for example, if I was the patient and you had a system set up like we teach, and let's say I'm coming for my routine hygiene appointment, it's been 6 months. Doctor's gonna know me because he or she's gonna have done some quick homework to prepare for the day. And when he or she comes in to do the hygiene exams, goes, Gary, it's so good to see you. How's your wife, Therese? I've got to ask you about our yoga studio. How's your yoga studio going?
Yeah.
I've been
all
to
your talking points.
Yeah. I've been to a couple of her classes. I need to go to more. Dentistry is kind of, it keeps me kind of bound up. I need to go to more of her yoga classes. And I've got to ask you about your grandson, Kanan. Now, how am I going to feel as a patient when we have, and it's got to be genuine. You can't be reading off a script.
Right.
It's got to be genuine. But I would argue that for your listeners, they wouldn't be listening to a podcast on their own time if they weren't genuinely interested in self-improvement, right?
Right.
So we just need to set up a good system so they can do that. And then step 6 is add more what I call high-value services. Things like placing and storing implants, adult orthodontics, cosmetic dentistry, diagnosing and treating obstructive sleep apnea, sedation. Maybe we treat TMD, TMJ, whatever. And I'm often asked, well, Gary, how do I pick those? And my answer to that is pick the things that float your boat. Pick the things you like.
Yeah, you'll sell it better if you do.
Something that you might imagine yourself taking over 1,000 hours of CE on and getting excited about it. Those are how you pick your high value services. You don't have to do everything.
That's great advice.
But if you love it, you're going to be good at it. And the nice thing about those high value services, let's use cosmetic dentistry for an example. What we call smile design, say a 10-unit upper anterior porcelain veneer case. The patient's going to ask, is that covered by my insurance? They're going to ask that. And we say, unfortunately, no, your insurance company calls it cosmetic and they don't pay for that. The patient doesn't like that answer, but they get it. They understand it. Your dental insurance was only meant to cover the most basic stuff, and this is far from basic.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And they kind of chalk it up. Well, it didn't hurt to ask.
Right. But you can present them so many different options on how they can afford it.
Yeah.
And again,
imagine the membership plan with the savings that they would get. We can emphasize
and
the
financing.
Savings.
Yeah.
By the way, if I can get granular for just a minute, Brett, I did the research on figuring out scientifically what is the best discount for your membership plan. And we did an 1,800 practice study where we tested different price points on the discount. A/B split testing. Of course, in marketing, you understand A/B split testing.
Yeah.
And here's what we tested: 20%, 18%, 15%, 12%, 10%, and 8%. And what we found out was 10% was the sweet spot.
Wow.
So 10% was enough to encourage people to sign up, but had a lesser impact on the practice than a higher percentage. Now, if you're a listener and let's say you've got one and it's 20%, here's my suggestion. Pick a date in the future. Pick whatever date you want. September 1st. I'm just making up a date. And say from September 1st on, our discount rate, our savings rate for our membership plan is going to be 10%. Grandfather everybody in that is currently in your plan at 20%, leave them in because people don't like things taken away from them.
Right.
So grandfather them in, leave them in at 20. And then starting September 1st, moving forward, everyone will be at 10. Now, trust me, this will happen. You know where I'm going with this, Brett.
I do. Scarcity.
A new patient's going to come in, a new patient, and you're going to present the membership plan with a 10% discount. She's going to say, well, my next door neighbor, Millie, gets 20%.
Yep.
And here's what we do. We say, you know what? The accountant has a fit when I do this, but I'm going to make an exception for you, and I'm going to grandfather you in under the friends of Millie, and I'm going to give you that same 20% that we do for Millie, but keep it to yourself because we're not offering this to everybody.
You just got to
and everybody's happy. We didn't take anything away from your existing patients, and we indexed it where it should be.
And there's another piece that I was going after is once you create that date, you now have a scarcity tactic in your marketing that, hey, if they were thinking about it, they're on the fence, now's the time, you got to get in.
And it's not an artificial scarcity. It's real.
It's real. Yeah.
Here it is. You guys, you can blow it out of the water and let all your friends know. And bring them in.
Texting is great for that too.
Oh God.
Come on in. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. But the reason I'm so passionate about this is think about this for a minute, Brett. let's just hypothetically say you owned a restaurant, okay? And let's say it's a very fine restaurant. It's one that you take a lot of pride in your menu, in the selection of your ingredients. Let's say, you have some really nice Midwest corn-fed beef, hormone-free. Let's say part of your menu includes some seafood, and you have wild Alaska salmon flown in.
I'm liking this.
This
is a great restaurant.
You use farm-to-table organic produce.
Yeah.
And let's say the cost of those things start to go up, because of cost of doing business.
Yeah.
As a restaurant owner, what do you do when that happens? You'd be mindful of your customer base, but you'd raise your menu prices a little bit to handle it. When dental practices are fee for service and costs start to go up, like right now, we're all experiencing massive wage inflation, in particular hygiene wages.
Right.
Then you suddenly raise your fees because you have control of that. Why in the world? Can you imagine there was such a thing as a restaurant PPO?
Right.
Would you ever sign up for that if the restaurant...
Is that dessert covered by my insurance? Yeah.
Yeah. Would you allow the restaurant board to set your fee?
Oh my gosh. It is wild. Like it's wild how this actually, I understand why the insurance game started, especially in healthcare. But it is wild when these examples.
But Brent, it's a different story. I'm a bit of a historian, and I've studied a lot about the history of dental insurance. Dental insurance started in the 60s, and Delta of California started in 1968. Let's go back to 1968. They cover as $1,000 annual award in 1968. That's how much you could get under your annual award from Delta Dental. But let's look at what it paid. The average crown fee in 1968 was $150. So it paid 50%. So the patient paid $75. The insurance paid $75. How many crowns could they get for the $1,000 award? Well, I won't. I know the answer.
Do the math for me.
13 and 14. 13 and a half crowns. So there is no such thing as half a crown. But
right.
13 and a half crowns. Fast forward to 2025, some plans still have the same $1,000 award. Now, granted, there are many that have $1,200, $1,250, $1,500. But look at it, even if it's $1,500, look at it proportionately. How much benefit can you get for your $1,500 award?
Yeah, it's not the same.
One crown, and hopefully it doesn't need a root canal. If it needs a root canal, you're above your limit.
You're toast, yeah.
Yeah. But meanwhile, what's happened, and this is where it really gets criminal, in my opinion, is where's the money going? It's not going to dentists. It's not going to the patients in the form of benefits. It's going to the fat cat executives at the insurance company.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
That is wild.
The amount of money that they're making.
Well, I think we'll reach a tipping point at some point when Delta's got to realize, and maybe we're close. I don't know.
I actually think it's close. Brett, I'll share a statistic with you and your listeners. HPI, Health Policy Institute. It's an independent research organization that is it's funded by the ADA, but independent from the ADA. They're independent. They're truly an objective research organization. They just did a survey of dentists nationwide in June. So literally 2 months ago from the time we're recording this.
Yeah.
And in that survey, one of the questions was, are you considering resigning from PPO plans this year? 32.8% of the dentists responding said yes, they are considering resigning from PPO plans this year.
Ooh, that's scary for
them. Can I round up and say that's a third?
Yeah.
1 more percent, it would have been a third.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got to be feeling it, and if they're listening to the market, it's
Are you familiar with what was called Proposition 2 on the Massachusetts state?
I heard something about, I don't know the details. When I was at the AID conference in DC, that was in March. So there was something about it, but I'm not tell us the specifics.
In 2022, the Massachusetts Dental Association got together and they wanted to put a ballot initiative on the ballot for the public to vote on. In medical insurance, there's what's called the medical loss ratio. And what the medical loss ratio means that out of every dollar that the medical insurance company takes in, they have to pay a certain amount of that out in benefits to policyholders.
So some legislation happening. Yeah.
And so MDA, Massachusetts Dental Association, wanted to get a dental loss ratio. prior to this initiative, Delta Dental of California was paying 52 cents of every dollar that they took in on a premium for benefits to patients that had Delta Dental. However, in the initiative, it would require Delta of Massachusetts to pay 84% of every dollar instead of the 52.
Nice.
I'm sure Delta of Massachusetts never thought it would ever make it to the ballot measure. They wouldn't get enough votes. Well, they got enough votes to get it on the ballot. And then it won by a landslide, an absolute landslide. And so now in the state of Massachusetts, that dental insurance company doing business in Mass.
Hopefully other states follow suit.
Other states are now following suit. And you're starting to see the very lopsided situation crumble. But I wouldn't wait for it. If I was a dentist, I wouldn't wait for it.
No, there's way more freedom and control, and
and maybe you don't 100%. Go all the way. Maybe we get rid of the most obvious ones. I can understand why there might be reasons in a particular area based on an employer or based on a community of people you want to support. There might be a reason, but certainly we can get rid of some of the most offensive plans and do it in a way that is a win for you. Right now in the insurance game, we've got the insurance company that provides the policy, we've got the dentist that provides the care, the patient that receives the care, and the employer that buys the policy. In those four entities, the only one that wins is the insurance company. The dentist loses because of the massive discounts they have to take. The patients lose because of all the games they play. Heaven forbid that you would go into your dental office 5 months and 29 days after your last hygiene appointment, because that one's going to get stamped denied because you didn't have a 6-month wait. So the patient loses and the employer is losing because of how much they're getting gouged for those premiums.
Right. We talked about that.
It's time for this game to go away.
Disruption it's ripe for disruption. Well, this has been awesome, Gary. This conversation, I mean, we're about out of time. I always ask everybody, what's one gold nugget you could share? I mean, we've been talking about PPOs and stuff, but if we could help docs and their teams have this epiphany, what would that one epiphany be that would really help make an impact for their practice?
Brett, the epiphany I would like to leave with your listeners is this. I happen to believe strongly, as much as I believe dentistry rocks, I also believe that right now we've got a crisis in our profession. And the crisis is a lack of work-life balance, If you, as I have done, talk to dentists all over the country and ask, hey, how do you feel about your work-life balance? The vast, 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 vast majority of dentists are going to say, it's not balanced at all. It's way more on the work side, not on the life side. And I get it. I mean, your work as a practice owner doesn't end when you put the handpiece down. You still have your administrative side of your practice.
It's hard to turn it off. And when you're at home, your mind's thinking about it.
You have to take CE. There's CE requirements. You've got HR to pay attention to as a practice owner. I mean, it's a challenge. But the takeaway I'd like to leave with all of your listeners is it absolutely is possible to have a world-class, I'm going to call it a top 10% practice, to have a top 10% practice and achieve an effective life balance, work-life balance.
Absolutely.
They are not mutually exclusive, but it's going to require doing some things differently. If that old Albert Einstein saying about the definition of insanity, continuing to do what you've always done, but expecting a different result. If you continue to be subjected to 45 to 50% discounts and expect a different result, then you're going to keep getting what you got, which is not work-life balance. But I love one of the models that we use with our clients is to get our doctors to a 3-day clinical week. In normal days, not 3 12s, but 3 normal days. We did this in my own practice. And provide, great hours. The hours that I liked, by the way, the hours that we had at our practice were 7 to 4. So morning huddle was 6:45. 7 was our first patient. So 7 to 4, Monday through Thursday, and then 7 to 2 on Friday. We found the afternoon hours on Friday. Everyone thinks it's a good idea to schedule a Friday afternoon appointment until Friday afternoon comes around.
And then they cancel because they're like, it's Friday. I don't want to go to the dentist.
I'm going to the river.
That's some great advice.
But I want you to know it is possible. I can point to practices all over the country, and you deserve it. If you achieve financial success at the expense of your relationships, at the expense of your family,
that's a too high of a cost.
It's not a win. It's not a success. At the expense of your hobbies, your interests, your fitness level. it's not a win.
Well, and when you have all of those buckets full in your life, and that your patients get a much better you, and your team gets a much better you
they
as
get
a
all
leader.
of you.
Yeah, so much better.
I'm on a campaign to help as many dentists as possible achieve an effective work-life balance because, and I have a personal personal motivation for that, Brett. Teresa and I celebrated 43 years of marriage a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome.
We have four adult kids, 3 daughters and a son. And I'll tell you why I'm so motivated about this. Our youngest daughter, her name is Kelly. Here's what it felt like. It didn't happen this way, but I want to describe what it felt like. It felt like she was born, and then I blinked my eyes, and then I'm driving her off to college.
I know.
It didn't happen that way, of course, but that's how it felt. And I remember
does go fast.
I remember driving back home, and I remember, now being empty nesters, she was the youngest. And I remember thinking that I wish I would have created work-life balance earlier. I could blame my boss. Well, wait a minute.
That's you.
I started my consulting firm in '89, so I'd be blaming me. But in all seriousness, I used, and I don't mind sharing this very candidly, someday I'm going to do that. Someday I'm going to do that. Someday I'm going to do that. And it took a wake-up call of, our baby going off to college, that it was like, I got to make this happen now.
Yeah.
Brett, how old's your youngest?
My youngest is 10. We just dropped first day of school today, but I've got seniors in high school, and it's wild. Like you said, blink. Like I remember, when my twins were born, that song, "You're Gonna Miss This, You're Gonna Want This Back," that cowboy, I don't know. That was playing on the radio. And I remember thinking, driving home from the hospital, this is now. I'm going to want this back.
Is your 10-year-old a boy or girl?
I have all girls, 4 girls. Yeah.
Well, I raised 3 of them, and you see my hairline.
Yeah. Well, hey, look. Yeah. That's why I wear a hat. That's why I wear a hat.
There you go.
And the hair I do have is turning more and more gray.
Yeah, it's looking good though. But you're going to blink your eyes. It's 8 years. And you're going to be driving your daughter off to college. So no time like now to develop a plan.
100%.
And I want to tell you, it is possible. It is possible to have a world-class practice and an effective work-life balance.
This has been phenomenal. You guys, Gary has obviously walked the road of a successful practice. He's helped and proven his process with over 1,800, we said, practices. A lot of times is we don't know what we don't know. And so we need a coach. We need somebody to walk that path of success with us. You guys got to reach out to Gary and
please
and find out more.
I'd love the opportunity to work with you if that was your wish. Brett, I'll provide some contact information. In fact, one thing I'll be happy to provide, I'll provide my personal cell number.
Yes.
We can put that in the show notes. And I want any of your listeners to feel welcome to reach out to me. Text messaging works great for me. It's literally a cell phone I carry in my pocket. So feel welcome to reach out to me anytime. And Brett, I want to close this by thanking you. Thanks for all the work you're doing.
Yeah.
Marketing is such an important function in a dental office. And you guys are mastering. It's not just a matter of attracting the right number of new patients, but also the right type of new patients as well.
Absolutely.
And
Let's help you do that.
You guys are doing a fabulous job.
Thank you. I think I'm trying to raise awareness on ethical marketing. There's a lot of, we get burned by marketing companies, and there's a lot of good ones out there. So let's reward those that are doing it right and truly invested in the growth of your practice.
Well, and I appreciate how much you give back to our profession, this podcast and otherwise. It's wonderful to be around people that truly believe the rising tide raises all boats, and you're part of that thinking for sure.
Thank you, Gary. This has been so great. And again, if you're driving or whatever, we've got the show notes on our website, marketing32.com. You can reach out to Gary. And thanks for coming on again today, Gary.
My pleasure.
All right, everybody. Until next time on the Marketing 32 show, have a great rest of your day.